What's going on, guys? My name is Jake and back to a brand new video. Today I'm here for the 2012 British Grand Prix, 26 laps ahead of everyone on the 2012 grid, and welcome to the Iceman return. So today you've just seen Kimi Räikkönen's setup, and now we are going to look at the grid. On pole you can see Mark Webber claim pole position at the British Grand Prix with Fernando Alonso in second and the Mercedes Nico Rosberg in third, with Kimi Räikkönen in fourth, and fifth is Sebastian Vettel. Sixth is Roman Grosjean, and seventh and eighth are the two McLarens of Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button, and then ninth is Paul di Resta, and 10th is Sergio Perez. Michael Schumacher not on the best day, qualifying down in 12th place with Felipe Massa just scraping through Q2, he qualifies in 17th, with Kimi Räikkönen starting down in last place after not getting the best run through Q1. And onto the race strategy, you can see normal fuel strategy today. Apparently pitching on lap 13 for the aggressive fuel strategy actually. Apparently pitching on lap 13 for the first pit stop for another set of wet. And now as we are going on to the grid, you can see Mark Webber, Roman Grosjean I think was in 7th, and then Kimi Räikkönen in last place. And obviously for wet conditions, it doesn't look as wet as I was expecting, as Räikkönen was expecting for wet conditions. It doesn't look as wet as I was expecting it, but now we have 5 lights and they're out and away we go. And you can see Räikkönen gets a fairly decent start. He's already moved up to 23rd place, and he goes to the inside of Pedro de la Rosa and moves up into 21st, 20th. Now he's slight contact with Pitt, but he gets up into 19th. Ricciardo's round, and slight contact there with I believe that was a Caterham, and Räikkönen loses it, but no contact as Cobra line goes past. But Räikkönen is steaming to this corner, and then moves up into 17th, and slight contact with Verne, and Massa moves up into 15th. But then Räikkönen goes around outside and moves up into 16th, and then goes through the middle of Massa and Williams. Maldonado must have been, and then he gets past Senna as well as I believe that was Perez. I'm not entirely sure, can't remember. But now he's in 12th place already on that one, and now he's still not done. He goes to the inside of Paul di Resta and moves up into 11th place, one out place outside the points, and now goes around the outside of Sergio Perez. And Michael Schumacher lifted off, and as there's yellow flags, so can't overtake Michael Schumacher. But Perez surprisingly overtakes some yellow flags, and he does not get penalised for that. But now it's green flags again, as there's yellow flags again, as a Red Bull is round. I think it might have been Sebastian, I think it might have been Mark Webber. But Räikkönen's now up into the points out nevertheless, and he now gets past Michael Schumacher, squeezing him out, and di Resta actually gets past, and it looks like he's going to have a go at Räikkönen, but no, he doesn't, as he pulls away. And now Räikkönen makes a mistake, and he goes off the track, but he gets back onto the track. Obviously very difficult conditions at the moment, but it looks like everyone is going to be coming at the end of that for intermediate tyres, and Räikkönen's in 9th now, chasing down Sergio Perez in the Sauber. You can see there's a dry line appearing, and that is why you can see now on the map, bottom left of the map, you can see loads of people are peeling off into the pits. And this is the part that Räikkönen wasn't too sure about, because he didn't want to get held up in traffic, didn't want to get stuck up behind his teammate, but he still came into the pit anyway, because he couldn't go another lap on these tyres because he would have lost so much time and wouldn't have really been beneficial. So he comes in and he's going to strap on a set of the intermediate tyres. He does make a few places to begin with, but obviously as he pulls into his pit box, he's going to lose some places, and those crew are pretty much ready, but then they have to get ready to get the tyres into position. And then Räikkönen now has the tyres strapped on, and he's being held in the pits for other cars, and he's got a car ahead of him as well in Hulkenberg, so he can't get past. And now he's still being held in the pit lane, and you see Button there, and Massa and Michael Schumacher, and now Räikkönen's been let out. He will move off a few places again because the driver's in the pit, and he's actually lost a place to Michael Schumacher, so now he will have to try and get past Schumacher once again. Obviously Michael Schumacher is known for being very good in the rain. He's not called the Rainmaster for nothing. But now coming out of the pit, Räikkönen is going to try and hunt down Michael Schumacher. It looks there is a very dry line appearing, which means they may only be on these tyres for a few laps before they come into the pits once again. As now we are coming on to lap 3. You see obviously a much drier line appearing, and Räikkönen goes up inside of Michael Schumacher and moves up into 11th place. a good job there, and then he actually goes up the inside of Felipe Massa. Slight contact with his former teammate, and then he gets back and he brings it around the corner and is up into 10th place behind Jensen Button. But a snap of oversteer as he comes onto the back straight, trying to find some water to cool the tyres and keep them working well. And he now has Jensen Button ahead, obviously. And now, as we are going to come on to lap 3, the end of lap 3 actually, Raikkonen and everyone comes into the pits once again. This time it is for a set of dry tyres, and most drivers, I can tell you, are going on to the prime tyres, but Raikkonen decided to go onto the options because he thinks he could take the options quite a long way. Of course, if you can remember back to Malaysia, he took the options quite a long way before the rain period, and now he comes into the pits and a set of option tyres are going on. Don't get held up this time as he sets past the Grand Prix, and actually didn't get held up in the pit box a bit, but he did get held up, and he is now behind Jensen Button on lap 4. So only 4 laps in this race, and we've already been on 3 compounds of tyres, and 26 lap race, so it's obviously still a long way to go, and Raikkonen is behind Jensen Button. Dry line appearing, but there is still it can punish you if you do get onto the wet patches. You need to stay on the racing line as much as you can now, because obviously it's still pretty wet, and Raikkonen, it looks like Massa is going to have a go as Raikkonen spins it and goes into the infield, the grass, and that lets Massa pass. And now he's got to defend against Schumacher, and Schumacher doesn't get past. Comes to the braking zone though. Raikkonen runs out a bit wide, but then still clips the apex. And now onto lap 4. He is right behind Felipe Massa, who's caught up, and now he goes onto the wet stuff. In under braking, loses the car a bit, but has to correct it. So that's the problem here. He has to overtake on the dry line, which is really hard because all the drivers are on the dry line. So he has to find a way to move out onto the wet line safely, and as he loses it again, he has to figure out a way to get onto the wet line safely and overtake, and then go on to the dry line once again. Of course, most of the track is dry, but you can see that rain has started to fall once again, and now Hogberg looks like he might want to try and get past. But now, as we are moving on to lap 5, actually there wasn't a cut there, so I don't know what quite happened, but yeah, coming around this corner, it looks like Hogberg is going to make a move, but and Raikkonen's using his close to defend as Hogberg goes around to the outside, but coming under braking, there's nothing he can do until Raikkonen runs wide, that is, and into the gravel, and Raikkonen is going to lose a heap of places here. He's already lost 3 places now, and he loses 3 places. Mark Webber moves up into 13th, and Raikkonen now with gravel in his tyres and on the wet stuff, it's not going to work well for him. But now on lap 7 you can see he's back into the pits, and he undergoes a set of the intermediate tyres, and it's the 3.8 second stop. Raikkonen has made good decisions so far in this race, and this could be another good decision. It does look very wet, and it does look like other drivers are going around very slowly, and I can tell you now that Raikkonen in fact has made a brilliant call by going onto the intermediate tyres. He's on the right compound tyres, and so 7 laps have been from the wet to the intermediates to the dries, now back onto the intermediates, and you can see the speed that Raikkonen has here, and he goes around the outside of Pedro de la Rosa, and de la Rosa turns into him really because he couldn't control the car on dry tyres, and then spins out the contact with Raikkonen, but there's nothing Raikkonen can do, and Raikkonen gets a penalty, drive-through penalty that he has to serve within 3 laps. I don't think it was really Raikkonen's fault, but you can decide that for yourselves. Leave down in the comments if you want whether you think that was Kimi's fault or not. But he's now got past Timo Glock as well on lap 7, and now as we are coming on to a later lap 9, Raikkonen is again into the pit, so he did take drive to penalty that lap, and he's now gone onto the wet tyres, which was I think again another, and yes it was another brilliant strategy call by Raikkonen, because you can see that it is much wetter now on the track, and he is now in 14th, but of course he will move up due to other places, and hopefully he won't get a penalty once again because he is on for a good result at the moment. and it does look very, very wet, and you can see he's got perfect car control at the moment, as now we come on to lap 12. He's on the right tyres. Other drivers have also pitted onto the wet tyres, but Raikkonen just doesn't seem to have the same pace in the wet as Senna does, or as many of the other drivers. Senna's got past, and now Michael Schumacher goes to the left, but Kimi holds him off, and now coming up to this corner, Raikkonen goes around the outside of Bruno Senna and moves back up into 13th place. But he runs wide, and that lets Senna up the inside a bit, and Raikkonen loses it, and that slight contact with Senna, and so Senna's got past, and Schumacher's also going to breeze past, but Raikkonen using his curves, and you can't actually see a thing right now. We can't even see a thing, but then it clears up, and going around that corner, fourth gear, the old turn one, he can't get past Schumacher, and he now has teammate got behind him in 16th, and Raikkonen still can't see a thing, come through Maggots and Beckett's as Alonso sets fast lap on 1.3.4, and Raikkonen just seemingly can't compete against Schumacher and Senna here, so he's obviously not having a very good run in the wet weather here today. Hamilton now sets fast up on a 143.2, and Raikkonen again getting very close to Michael Schumacher, as now we're coming up to Chapel, I believe it was Chapel and Club. I think it might just be Club, it might be Chapel as well, but nevertheless coming through Club now, coming through the Club complex now on lap 12, entering lap 13. He is still in the rich fuel mix, but he wasn't able to compete, and now he's back into the pits on lap 17 to go onto the intermediate tyres. Once again, another strategy call, but will this one work out for Raikkonen? It's worked out what's right. It looks like it might be the right call, or is it still too wet? All the other drivers have elected to stay out, even drivers that were behind him have elected to stay out on the track, and he comes out on track, and we will be able to see when he comes up to the first breakdown as he makes a mistake, and now he locks up massively as well, actually, and goes totally wide, so obviously it was the wrong decision and Raikkonen has made. I can confirm that now, and he gets a warning for dangerous driving when he has to get back onto the track, but he crossed the pit lane white exit line and had to come back out the pits. Now he goes onto the dry tyres, so he has taken the drive through penalty now on lap 22 onto the dry tyres. It could again be the wrong decision. It could still be too wet, and I can confirm now that it is in fact still too wet for the option tyres. But they do come into their own a few laps later, just like the intermediates did eventually. So they do come into their own. Eventually, as now lap 22, Raikkonen is still struggling because he is on the wrong tyre, and he has to allow past more cars. But he makes a mistake and lets past, I believe that was Senna. But Raikkonen, you see, is really struggling, running wide and going off the track and spinning obviously he was getting held up with the flag, so he's really on the wrong tyre at the moment, and just now he spins the car around and gets again on his way as Carthkine now actually passes him, and he gets a legal blocking warning for holding up Daniel Ricciardo. But for some reason Carthkine could get past, but Ricciardo couldn't, and now Raikkonen is just defending for his life to not let Daniel Ricciardo pass, but it's pretty much inevitable that Daniel Ricciardo will get past, and he actually doesn't get past now as we are coming on to the final lap, I believe, and Raikkonen's final lap as he comes around the final corner and crosses the line in 16th place. So no points unfortunately for Raikkonen for this race, but he did gain 8 places from his starting position. It's not points, but you can be happy with that. Still in the comeback, making some good strategy calls and some good strategy calls. There you can see Raikkonen finished in 16th with Daniel Ricciardo actually got a 20-second time penalty. I think it might be for Raikkonen. Now you can see the race results. Fernando Alonso won the race from Nico Rosberg, with Kimi Kobayashi finishing in 3rd. Romain Grosjean finishing 4th, Raikkonen's teammate, ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. Sergio Perez and Felipe Massa finished in 7th and 8th, with the 2 Force Indians running on top 10 of Nico Rosberg and Paul di Resta. You can see Mark Webber just be starting points, finishing 11th last, starting on pole, and Bruno Senna finishing 12th. Now looking at the driver standings, you can see Lewis Hamilton leads the way, 11 points ahead of his teammate Jenson Button, so it's still very close at the top, and McLaren are obviously still dominating, with Mark Webber in 3rd and Fernando Alonso in 4th. Mark Webber obviously best of the rest, with Raikkonen in 5th and Vettel in 6th, Grosjean in 7th, 8th is Sergio Perez, 9th Marshall, and 10th is Pastor Maldonado. Now coming on to the constructors, you see McLaren still dominating ahead of Red Bull and Lotus in 3rd, with Ferrari finally breaking the 100 points barrier. Sauber in 5th at 6 points ahead of Mercedes, who are Williams in 7th, and Force India and Toro Rosso the final point score is very close there. And then the teams to not have scored so far are Marussia, Caterham and HRT. But that's it from me, guys. If you did enjoy this video, please hit a big like, comment down below what you thought, subscribe if you are new for weekly F1 content. You can follow me on Twitter @perpetuate_. As always, there's links that down in the description, and all the music we used in this video is also down in the description. And if you want to become a partner of Freedom, then there's also links to that down in the description as well. I realise the commentary on this video may not have been the best, but I don't know why, but I'm just not really feeling it. I'm just not really good at commentaries at the moment, but obviously I will get better, and another day video will be coming out very soon, probably before this video actually. But nevertheless, that's been it from me, and I'll see you next time.